that we table item 14, discuss open meetings. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions?
Questions?
All in favor? Ayes have it. 15, discuss, consider, and take action to remove former Councilwoman Paulette Barnett from banking accounts and replace with Councilwoman Wendy Williams.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Rowland.
We are on section number 15. I thought that was done months ago.
Me too.
And so we're currently actually at the point in section 1.508 of the original item we looked at, the first thing we looked at in tonight's meeting, section F, where we need to select the mayor pro tem.
Okay.
And we have that rotation going on. So to do that for a month, I don't think that would be feasible. So I think we need to go ahead and select our new mayor pro tem and then have that person sign on.
Okay. Tell me how you want to dispose of item 15.
Are we going to be named the next mayor pro tem in the next meeting? Is that
We should have done it at the early election.
Actually, in working on, waiting on the 12-month period, that's about where we are now, as you point out. That's the only reason why it hadn't been done. So you want to table it pending?
okay? So that means the mayor pro tem action needs to be on the next agenda, and then this needs to be the subsequent item after that.
Right. Okay. And if it be the will of council by consensus, we can just skip it. Is that good?
I think we got to put a motion to table, right?
No, you can skip it by consensus. If you all agree to skip it, we don't have to keep going through all these motions to table everything. We got to have the agenda
table.
table.
We put to be on the next.
We can do that with the thing, absolutely. Okay? Okay, we move on to item 16. Discuss, consider, and take action to approve expenditures for updating the city zoning map.
I provided a handout for you all there that the Planning and Zoning Commission voted on this kind of scope of work for Mr. Thompson to update the zoning map.
Is that the $800?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, council has that?
I passed it out tonight.
Okay. I know we've been talking about the need to do it for well over a year now, so what's council's pleasure? Councilman Randall?
I move that we approve the expenditures for updating city zoning map.
Second.
And do we need the dollar figure that we have on that quote, Counselor, in the motion, to be clear?
I
So
mean,
if
if
you
you're
bring back
approving,
invoice for 1,200.
yeah, I mean,
we
if
got a
you
quote
want to
for
say 800, just to be a maximum of 800 would be.
Okay.
Do I need to amend it? Do I need to amend my motion?
Or withdraw it and just add
Who
800.
seconded it? Just make a friendly second
Friendly second.
Okay.
of 800.
Of the
Not
$800.
Maximum.
Not to exceed
Not to
$800.
exceed $800.
$800.
It's been properly moved and seconded that council approve expenditures for updating city zoning map not to exceed $800. You've heard the motion, ready for the question?
I'm ready.
Go ahead.
We were supposed to get, so we remember we spent the hours on this. When's the time frame? Like, this doesn't say when it's gonna be done. This doesn't say, because we have some unresolved issues that this is waiting on. And so, does anybody know, or he's just waiting for the $800 check?
He's ready to start on this.
Yeah, I was there and he said he's waiting for us to approve.
He's ready to go. I don't think he's not going to take him 6 months to turn it around.
And what we can do is, Ms. Dickey, if you would add this planning and zoning with the Hawkins property and the property in Rosewood, I believe on Sharon Street, because we do have, the council historically has changed mostly areas. And now we have two situations where it was parcels changing, which means that opens the door, as we talked about not wanting to do, to someone saying, I want to build, you know, something next to Mr. Leverrett's house that Mr. Leverett is objectionable to, but they come and they have a right, like these folks have done, to say, I want to change my parcel when historically the city has been changing and dealing with zones, or at least areas and blocks of land, not just one next door to people. But again, we'll deliberate that at the next one, because that's like the unresolved issue I believe Councilman Rowland was referring to, and we do need to address that, so that's for next meeting. Any other unreadiness? All in favor say aye. Done. Item 17, discuss, consider, and take action to review documents from J.J. Johnson. Well, with Mr. Johnson being in or just about to get out of the hospital, Chair will entertain a motion to carry it over. Yes.
We can carry it over to the next meeting, but I talked to Mr. Johnson. He's trying to do much better. But he says we need to look at our calendar as council and come up with some dates, so we can have 2 dates in August. He asked preferably the first week and then come back the second week, because our timeline is getting short with his issue, but then also we're going to be backed up against trying to get a tax rate posted in paper, and so we need to, one, we got to figure out, are we doing several 3-4 hour, are we doing one weekend thing, are we doing a Sunday, and if we can get 2 or 3 dates from everybody, or we can agree on a date now so we can get it locked in, that also helps. So
What do you think about a weekend? Maybe it's Saturday and Sunday, 18th and 19th. Does that work for everybody?
18 to
We can
19.
have everything planned out and.
I got a wedding on the 18th. Not mine.
It's okay, you can tell us, you can tell us.
He ain't invited
Report is
us.
going.
Not mine.
He ain't invited
Okay.
us.
Is it local or
Yeah, I seen it.
it's out? Oh, well, that's local. Yeah.
Can we get
Look at-
the first week, can we get like a weekday to kind of just get the information, and then maybe get a weekend or a Sunday to kind of go through everything? Because part of what we, in the budgetary process, we know we can't encumber another council's budget. But the problem that we've been having is we're not looking farther down the road than in the immediate. And I think we have a number of projects that are before us that we need to not just look at the immediate. We need to look at that impact. I mean, we just had the police chief, Solomon, who brought us some great ideas. But remember, I don't know if y'all remember, well, most of you remember last year, we were strapped for cash. We needed officers, we needed this, and we gave the police department everything they needed. But then so if we're gonna say, well, which department is the priority? You put money behind your priorities. So it was the police department a priority, or however we do that. And so I think that it may take us some time. I mean, we want to hear from the different departments on not only what they need in their budget, but what are they gonna do for this year.
What day? You were looking at the first week?
Anybody got a date? Wednesday, Tuesday?
Y'all trying to do it at the beginning of August?
Yeah.
I mean.
When school starts, because when
My best day
school.
is a Wednesday.
The first,
So August 1st is best for most?
you know, with August starts, football season for me, so I just got my practice.
Get it done early.
That's what I'm saying.
I know you got your camp on August the 4th. Would there be preparation there now?
Is Monday the 30th?
Oh, no.
Does that work for you? July 30th?
I'm not here, and I'm not here, and I don't think, because remember, July 30th is next,
That's next Monday.
that's next Monday, and I think some of us will just be coming back.
Back from the Y.
So we would be, Sunday,
So what day?
Monday we get back?
Yeah, y'all fly in Monday
Y'all can do Monday.
at 5 o'clock in the morning.
So
Y'all
Monday
are
evening
overnight.
works for you?
I can do Monday evening.
Do we want,
Councilwoman Williams.
Monday or Tuesday, I can't do the end of the week.
Okay. What about Saturday the 4th? Will that work for more people?
That,
Get you away from your jobs and stuff?
Football camp.
Okay, well, that's one, but is it good for everybody else? Because it looks like, at least maybe in kicking it off, it's not gonna be best for everybody, so when do y'all wanna meet?
I mean, I'm pretty much fine with any day, but it just needs to be in
You
the
said
evening.
Tuesday?
Tuesday, I'm out of town.
What about Monday?
Monday, we'll just be getting back. I think we'll be back in enough time, so Monday,
Monday evening?
Monday night, because we get back,
5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
so yeah, we'll be
Y'all are
back.
overnight Sunday.
Yeah.
So
So,
Monday the
July
30th.
30th for like a preliminary?
Like 6
Over
o'clock?
here?
Yeah.
Monday evening at 6 o'clock?
So we also gotta make, so what we're saying is by next Monday, we're gonna have to have JJ have all this stuff to us,
Yeah, that's the big question.
which is gonna be the question.
We can set the meetings and then,
Well, his brother is helping him, so now that he's out of the hospital, and like you said, just doing so much better, he can direct traffic. That's the 30th of July?
What about that Monday, the 6th? Give them another week?
Okay. August 6th?
I'll be attentive, yes. I don't know for sure, but yeah, we'll say yeah.
And we'll need a super quorum, or do we, for budget meeting, do we have, well, we're just discussing city business, kind of.
What time are you talking about? Because I have volleyball, and those are 2 days.
So what time,
Last year.
council's pleasure?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
we'll
have to
do
do
it.
it. 'cause that was the wrong time.
I got no site there, so.
So 6 or 6:30? Because again, part of when we get the goal is for us to get the budget, look through it, but we also gotta have like 2 meetings. That normally we would have, and then you would have, you know, the mayor would kick it off, and then you would have the chief, and then you would have all the different departments come in as we massage the budget down of everybody has their wish list versus wants and priorities, and then we have that, and we won't be able to get that in one meeting. Now, we had a very interesting meeting some years back, and just to throw this out, we had a retreat. We didn't have it in Prairie View, we had it in Cypress. It was on a Sunday, all day. The thing that happened though is that, and this is the reason why I'm throwing it out there, what we learned is in Prairie View, when you have a meeting, everybody operates differently. When you have a retreat and it is not in the city of Prairie View, camaraderie and other spirit of the intent and point of what you're at the meeting for, it comes together better. And so I'm not saying we need to go into Houston, I'm not saying we need to go to Austin or Jamaica. I'm saying we just need to be, y'all know we can't go to Jamaica, so I'm sorry. But it helps to bring what we need as far as being able to iron out our differences, as the mayor talked about earlier.
Counselor, we have to make it, it's a public meeting, the public's invited.
You're invited.
Is Cypress considered out of area
Nope.
because we have
Houston,
to?
we can go all the way to Galveston,
They're
as
fine.
long as we post it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what, we still don't have a date, what's the date? If we don't have a date that's good for folks, then it won't matter.
And we did
Sunday.
Sunday meetings last year for budget.
Sunday, that 5th or the 6th, I mean, you have volleyball on the 6th, that Sunday.
I gotta go to church.
I mean, we had it after, we went to church too, but we had it from like 2, and we ended up going from like 2 to 8 o'clock or something like that, so we had, so, I mean, we can do Monday the 6th, or we can do Sunday, or we can do, but I just know that,
Is Sunday after church good for most people?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, then
How about the
Sunday the 5th, August 5th. We need dates.
Yeah, that's fine.
We know when you can't make it, can you make it that
We can
day?
do 5th. I can do 5th.
Okay, budget meeting on August 5th, can we get a motion?
Where at? Do we know where?
Location to be determined and published.
Okay.
We'll put it on the website, we'll put it on the door, we'll do a roll call if we need to make sure the public, because they have a right to know.
Yep.
Okay?
so we have another
About not
day.
having it here.
Now, well, it's up to you all. These are council decisions. I don't want to get accused of making council decisions.
I just put out a number of different things. I'm for the general body of what we want to do. I just know
You wanna
that
do August 5th here to start, and then the next one, this thing, or what? We need to make a decision.
I said there's no issue with having it here.
Is that, you wanna turn into a motion? So we can get a decision made?
I'm trying to see what gauge what the council wants.
Well, council wants to have a meeting. I certainly do.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Randall, August 5th? Okay, we'll do one, and then we'll do, yeah.
Move that we schedule a budget meeting for August the 5th at 2 o'clock, did you say 2 o'clock?
Right. We said two?
At the church.
At 4 o'clock here at the Prairie City Hall. That's the motion?
Second.
Yes. It's been properly moved and seconded that council have a budget meeting August 5th at 4 p.m. at Prairie View City Hall. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions?
Question.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is that 3 or 4? I just want the record to be clear. Councilman Williams?
Oh,
Okay, let the record show it's unanimous. Okay, item 18. Gonna- Oh, yeah, do you want to pick the second date now, or you want to pick it that day?
I can't commit to a second date until I get my schedule for it.
So you want to, can we do it at that meeting? So we can do it at that meeting, we want to have it on the agenda. First item, set the next date for the council budget meeting. Okay.
Ms.
So,
Dickey, can you make sure that JJ has the date and to prepare for the 5th?
okay, item 18, discuss, consider, and take action on mold removal from City Hall. I propose that discussion. It's going to take a few minutes, and it's mostly to put this issue, again, back in front of council. Some of it, for the record, we're hoping to encapsulate in the FEMA repair job. So that way, a lot of it will be eradicated with the leaking damage that has been happening in City Hall for a very long time. So, again, if we can have a consensus to carry this over, that would be fine. Okay?
Carry it to the next meeting?
Fine.
Would do we have a cost, or we'll get that information?
No, as the FEMA thing, my biggest thing here is making sure council is aware of what we're, major things that we're working on. And so that's the only reason I put it on the agenda, to keep it in front of you, but we don't have any finalization because we're hoping the FEMA process keeps us from incurring those costs. The only cost we have had was some time ago now, and that was to confirm that we got a problem. And they confirmed that.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we table agenda item 18, discuss, consider, and take action on mold removal from City Hall for the next meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded that we table item 18, discuss, consider, and take action on mold removal from City Hall. You've heard the motion, ready for the question?
Question.
All in favor? Done. Items for next meeting beside
Are we going?
all the new.
Executive session?
Executive session item.
Yes.
We'll make it quick.
Okay. All right, the Prairie View City Council will now end our regular meeting and reconvene in executive session in the conference room to discuss employee use of city equipment and city use of employee equipment. Consultation with attorney is authorized by Texas Government Code Section 551.071. We're now convening. Ms. Dickey, are we running it? Was it off or?
Yeah, I turned it back on. I paused it.
The Prairie View City Council will now reconvene from executive session at 10:25. Roll call, Ms. Dickey.
Councilman Brian Rowland.
Here.
Councilman Jonathan Randall.
Here.
Councilman Kendrick Jones. Councilman Wendy Williams. Councilman Exante Wallace.
Here.
Great. And there is no action from executive session. Anything else, council?
New business?
Yes.
For the next city council meeting, I would like to discuss the formation of a citizens review committee.
I'm sorry.
That's not the terminology I'm using. No, not even a review board, but I have my notes on my phone. I left my phone at home trying to rush it.
Well, and there's no problem with you getting information to Ms. Dickey. We can carry that and it'll be on the agenda. That's not a problem.
Yeah, give me a second.
Sure.
I'll take a second.
Any other new business that hasn't been tabled and carried over?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we take action on assigning computer login access for city council to log in on City Hall computer. It was on the agenda from our last meeting.
Oh, second. You have a motion?
Yeah, it was a motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we take action to allow city council to have login onto the city computers.
Login access.
Login access to the city computers. Motion, ready for the question?
Question.
Okay, I've got it on readiness. Counselor,
Yes.
we've got some extreme liability under the Fair and Accurate Credit Transaction Act and these new federal privacy and security identity theft laws. The protection of every resident's information that's on the computers, the payments that are taken, and this has nothing to do with but opening a can of worms, because based on those new laws, someone just has to have a belief that they became a victim of identity theft through the information they gave the city of Prairie View, and it gives them a right to sue. And those are federal laws.
Okay,
My concern, let me finish. My concern is, right now we have one person assigned per computer. If something happens on Ms. Cortez's computer, Ms. Cortez needs to be able to explain it to literally all of us. If it happens on Ms. Hayes' computer, all that. Now, I have no problem with giving council computer access. I just would like for our own, because what they look at are what steps did you take. Is there some reason why we can't get at under $1,000 a computer set up for city council members? So all city council members will have computer access through City Hall, but it doesn't have to be access to computers that personally I can't hold someone liable for because other people are on there. And that's just the reality. And I'm asking your,
Well, I think
Point of order.
this is,
Point of order.
it's on discussion.
But, I mean, the motion that's on the table is for the item to be on the agenda.
Agenda.
We can discuss the item when it's
On
on
the
the agenda.
agenda.
We can discuss the different methods or whatever we want to do about the item. This is just moving to put the actual item on the agenda. We have to actually have discussion about the agenda and stuff.
Exactly, yes.
We're violating open meetings.
Well, not violating open meetings. We've got to do set quorum. That's not open
But it's
meetings.
not on the agenda when we're discussing it.
I agree with Councilman Randall. This is, we're not into the debate on it. It's just a motion to put it on and a second. and
Well, the
that's it.
discussion is when you do debate, per Robert's Rules of Order.
But we can't discuss this item, the substance of this item. It can only be whether it goes on the agenda or not. That's the only discussion.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Anything else?
Yeah, Citizens Advisory Committee, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
I move that we discuss and take action on the formation of a Citizens Advisory Committee for the city of Prairie.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded that we take form a Citizens Advisory Committee to be put on the next agenda to discuss forming a Citizens Advisory Committee. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions?
Question.
Okay. Counselor, is this not the formation of a new committee that we need to be discussing?
Yeah, they can just,
That's what this is?
it sounds like it's a new committee that has not been formed.
Right.
So they would.
So we'll be discussing their priorities,
Right.
their, okay.
And
I
then,
just want to be clear.
and then if they decide they want it, then we'd probably do an ordinance like we're gonna do with the beautification committee and set out who the members are and what the goals are and what.
Got it. Just clarification. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next.
Did we,
Councilman Rowland?
on the agenda, we had to discuss and take action on the interlocal agreement with Waller. Is that on the next agenda? That was mentioned, but I
On
don't
an
know.
interlocal agreement with Waller?
Waller County, yes, to be placed on. We had that on, in our minutes that was supposed to be on this agenda item. So I move to discuss, consider, and take action on the interlocal agreement with Waller County be placed on the next agenda.
Okay.
Regarding what subject matter?
That's gonna be my
Huh?
question.
What subject matter?
Yeah, what is the interlocal agreement pertaining to?
To our roads, but the interlocal agreement has to do with the road,
Yeah.
our roads with Waller County.
Oh.
It's with the,
But that interlocal agreement can be about.
And a lot of things.
A few different
but this is
projects.
the road, but this is the
This is the
road,
road.
but this is the document itself is actually what we're talking about.
But you want the road interlocal agreement, not just any interlocal.
Right, that's what you
Okay.
gotta be specific about what.
Right,
interlocal
road, the
agreement
road,
Okay.
interlocal agreement.
is. Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded that be placed on discussion or potential action for a road interlocal agreement with Waller County. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions?
Question.
All in favor?
Uh,
Ayes have it. Anything else?
Mr. Mayor, just,
Yes.
for the interlocal road agreements, I thought to email Judge Duhan, and his team was working on getting that to us.
Yeah. And that would be good because they've been working for 9 months that I know of. So, yeah, that'd be great. Councilman Randall.
The last meeting I talked about the starting of hiring the city engineer, starting that process. So.
Yeah, we're posting that and, yeah, okay.
So, yeah, we're supposed to have a discussion, so I move that we,
Well, actually, it's not, I'm not sure we need a discussion, it's a requirement. So we're just working to try to get one. And then when
Well,
we get
we need to-
potentials, we're just posting it.
I guess we want to discuss the parameters in which we want to, the city engineer to perform. We could have, whether he's gonna be full-time, but like, what is the job description gonna be? Are we going, what are we seeking when we look for a city engineer?
Is the city engineer not in the code of ordinances that we have to have one similar to a city secretary?
Yeah, we have to have one, but we could, like, Ron Decker was contracted.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean we want to use a contract the city engineer. We haven't had a discussion of where we want to go forward as
Okay.
far as hiring a city engineer.
No
To-
problem.
to
Let's add discussion on city engineer onto the next agenda.
On the job descriptions. I guess,
And salary, because, budgeting season, we need to talk about what we want to pay a city engineer.
So if you're doing an employee, that would be appropriate. If you're doing going out to hire a firm like you have now, then you don't base it on price. You gotta go out and find the best person and negotiate after you decide who you want.
Right, and what JJ said last time was usually they're by project.
Yeah.
You pay them by
Well,
project.
if you look at our budget, we don't have our line item is very small in reference to what we pay the city engineer. He gets his money off the projects. But we do need to make a intentional decision on where we want to go with our engineer, because again, there were some reasons why we don't have this engineer, and so we were falling to the bottom of the priorities. But I think that's a conversation that we all have to have, and I just hope that, we're clear, because if the mayor says that you're trying to hire for this, when did we create the job description? Why haven't we seen it? So we're talking about roles. And so have we posted it? Is it out about a job description for city engineer?
We were preparing to post based on the fact that he resigned and based on the fact that we're supposed to have access to one. But as Councilor Kerwin says, after that comes in, it comes to council and y'all decide who and what you want and what you want him to do. But let's put that on the agenda for the next meeting.
Oh, last thing. It was on the agenda, it didn't make it back. And, discuss, consider, and take action, Parent Hill Apartment Complex with Bureau Veritas. We don't have the city engineer. We had put the developer of the apartment complex. That was what's off the agenda. So can we have that back on the agenda for next meeting? I know the Very Friendly said it, but we just want to make sure it's on the agenda.
Well, you can put it on the agenda, but just keep in mind, as Councilor Kerwin says, I'd already asked for it to be on agenda, and I said they were coming. So it's nothing new, but it's also not a requirement.
So because we make a motion, that's not nothing to do with a requirement. I'm just simply saying, we've asked since the last time twice, and it hasn't been back on there.
Well,
You said that they're coming,
Mm-hmm.
and all we're simply asking is for it to be back on the agenda, and whoever comes, they come. That's it.
And as I can make sure that happens, as I've said I was gonna do. But the reason it wasn't on the subsequent agenda was because the city attorney said you couldn't require them to come.
The city attorney?
The city attorney.
Well, I didn't
Yes.
say it couldn't go on the agenda.
No, you said we couldn't require these folks to come.
Yeah, you can't make anybody
Yeah.
come.
Yeah, but does that mean we
Yeah.
can't put it on the agenda?
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
And I said earlier that we were putting it on the agenda, so it's nothing new. Anything else?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Done.